Hey guys, Alien Spartan 117 here, and today we will be discussing on top 10 Halo facts Thel Vadamee, otherwise known as the Arbiter. So please stay tuned and enjoy the 10 facts ahead. Thel Vadamee was born on December 10th, 2485, on his home planet of Sangelios. There he would be trained by his warrior relative, Lac Vadamee, and he would eventually join the Covenant military in 2528. This would begin a journey that would eventually lead him to be the rank of Supreme Commander over the Fleet of Particular Justice by the time of 2552. By 2552, Thel Vadamee was responsible for the death of over 1 billion humans and the destruction of at least 7 worlds, most notably humanity's stronghold, the planet Reach. It was concluded by Jameson Locke, an OD official at the time, that Thel Vadamee was unstoppable. He could not be stopped through traditional means, as he was a tactical genius. It used the tactical genius of his superior technology to destroy human opponents. It was concluded that there was a 0% confidence level that humanity could stop Thel Vadamee, and suggested that he be assassinated. In 2535, Thel Vadamee, at the time a relatively low-ranking member of the Covenant military, would find himself in a place known as the Rubble, infested with Kig-Yar pirates and human rebels. It would be here that he would engage Spartan 006 in hand-to-hand combat, both narrowly escaping. It would be here that humanity would make their first contact with Thel Vadamee. Though many in the Covenant would display very barbaric actions against humanity during the war, there was also some instances of honor, one of which was exhibited by Thel Vadamee. Whenever he discovered the 3rd Battalion of UNSC Marines, they were completely unarmed and unready for combat. An unusual display of honor, Vadamee allowed his UNSC opponents to prepare themselves for battle before engaging them in combat. Even though the UNSC Marines had had time to prepare, they were inevitably slaughtered by Vadamee's forces. He displayed here an example of honor not often seen during the Covenant War. In late 2552, Thel's world would come crashing to the ground. He was responsible for the protection of the Halo, the sacred ring, the gateway to the great journey. But he would be foiled, as the human known as the Master Chief would destroy the ring. Thel's world would come crashing to the ground, just mere weeks after his greatest victory at the Battle of Reach. Stripped of his armor, stripped of his rank, and publicly tortured. He would be scheduled for execution, but the prophets would have different plans in mind. They would offer him to become the Arbiter. The Arbiter was once an example of great pride. It was a showcase of one of the greatest warriors of Sangeli culture, the greatest of their kind. But the prophets had manipulated the Arbiter to become a mark of shame for only disgraced elites to reclaim their honor. Thel would accept the role as the Arbiter, and little did he know what path this would lead him on. The Arbiter would undergo multiple different missions for the prophets. During this time period, humanity's homeworld of Earth would be discovered, along with Halo Installation 05. The Arbiter would travel to the surface of the ring to discover the sacred icon, the start of the great journey, the activation index. Once he had retrieved it, though, he would be met by the brute known as Tartarus. Tartarus would attempt to assassinate the Arbiter, under the orders of the prophets. The prophets had decided to push the elites out and to bring in the more controllable brutes to take control of all military forces in the Covenant. The prophets would order the execution of the entire council of the Sangeli. This was a massive betrayal, and the elites would react violently in response. The Arbiter would discover the truth about Halo, and he would eventually team up with his once enemies, the humans, and together they would go on a crusade to end the Covenant and the threat of the Halos once and for all. The Arbiter would find himself allied with his once sworn enemy, the Master Chief, and together they would battle against what remained of the Covenant forces on Earth. But a worse threat had emerged. The Flood had escaped from Halo Installation 05 and had taken over the Covenant holy city of High Charity. From here they could spread anywhere in the galaxy. The Prophet of Truth had discovered a portal to the Ark on Earth, and he would utilize this portal to travel to the Ark. A coalition of UNSC and Arbiter-controlled Covenant forces would follow him to the Ark. There they would have the final showdown between the Covenant and the UNSC. The Arbiter would eventually kill the Prophet of Truth in an act of revenge and of honor. This would signify the end of the Covenant Empire, but the worst threat of the Flood was still at large. Now the Arbiter and Master Chief would face against the Gravemind. Together they would stop the threat by firing Halo Installation 04B, a replacement for the ring that the Chief had destroyed months earlier. They would find themselves racing for the portal to get back to the Earth. But they would find themselves racing to get back to the Forward Unto Dawn, the UNSC ship that had traveled to the Ark, and from there they would enter the portal and return back to Earth. As they traveled through the portal, the ship was cut in half. The Master Chief was lost, presumed dead, but the Arbiter would make it back to Earth, and from there he would begin to rebuild his people. With the war at an end, the Arbiter would return back to Sangelios. There he would find that not all agreed with his decision to spare humanity. Others wanted to have humanity exterminated and did not wish for coexistence, but the Arbiter would campaign furiously for coexistence and peace with the humans. Elites such as Julam Dama, who was the creator of the Storm faction, and Telcam, the creator of the Servants of Abiding Truth, would plot against the Arbiter and attempt to assassinate him. Fighting his forces back all the way to the keep, the Arbiter would be facing intimate destruction until the UNSC Infinity would arrive, led by Lord Hood, to save him. Lord Hood would save the Arbiter on this day, and eventually the Servants of Abiding Truth would be defeated. The Arbiter's Swords of Sangelios were on their way to becoming the most powerful faction on Sangelios. By 2558, the Arbiter's forces had all but taken control of Sangelios, breaking tradition in many ways, such as allowing female Sangeli to serve in the military. The Arbiter would set his sights on the final Covenant stronghold on Sangelios, a place called Sanion. During this time, however, a rogue AI known as Cortana was raising Forerunner Guardians to attack and take control of the galaxy. One of these Guardians happened to be buried nearby Sanion. The Arbiter would be contacted by Jameson Locke, the same person who recommended that he be assassinated years prior. After a quick conversation, it would be decided that they would strike together only when victory could be assured. The Arbiter's forces would engage the final Covenant remnants at Sanion, and Spartan Team Osiris would chase the Guardian into slipspace. The Arbiter's forces would defeat the final Covenant remnants, and the Arbiter would effectively take control of Sangelios. The Arbiter's story is a story of honor and a story of courage, a story of betrayal and a story of deceit. Though in late 2558 he has achieved complete control of the planet of Sangelios, Cortana's guardians spread throughout the galaxy trying to enforce a martial law state adherent to that of the ancient Forerunner mantle. The Arbiter's forces and humanity's forces will not easily accept this, and will battle it in any way that they possibly can. The Arbiter would reunite with Master Chief, and together one can only assume that they will find a way to defeat Cortana's guardians. The Arbiter did not fight so hard for so long to unite his people, to have it taken away from him at his moment. Well guys, that was 10 facts about the Arbiter. It was originally going to be just random facts, kind of like the other videos, but it eventually turned into kind of a biography. The Arbiter has a very interesting story, and I was glad to tell it. I hope you enjoyed. Please check out some of the other videos, and please hit that subscribe button if you like. Leave in the comments below your opinions and what you would like to see next to be covered. Thank you, and have a good day.